Hi, good morning, and thank you for returning to my channel. It's me, I'm Simply Sheeta, and today I am going to have a little story time with you guys that helped me to realize something about myself that I wasn't quite sure was an issue, and I found that I think I have an issue, guys. I have an issue. So, welcome back. How was your week? My week was so long. And this is not slow motion. This is just me moving slowly. That shit was entirely too long. But the entire month was like that. Like, did anybody else get that feeling? Like, it was such a long month. Oh my God. Like, I know there was 31 days in January, but maybe it was because I had a lot of appointments. I had stuff going on in January. It didn't seem that long. Yo, this month was like dragging. It was like, you know how you see a drop of water coming out of a leaky faucet? Like, came through dripping, drip, drip. Came through dripping, drip, drip. Drip. Yes, it was like that. As you guys can see, I'm coming to you from a different place in the house today. Yay. I just wanted to try something different. My little, backdrop before with my owls, which of course probably by now, I'm sure any of my subscribers, my free subscribers, and speaking of which, hi new subscribers, I see it looks like I got 2 new ones. Hi, and thank you for subscribing. You guys have probably figured out by now that I was in the bathroom. That was my shower curtain, my upstairs bathroom, which I really just choose because it has better downstairs, different view, different hair. So anyway, guys, this is what I've realized since the last time I spoke to you guys. It's not like a first time I ever came across this, but it's something that I really began to sit down and think about, and thinking about my subject matter for this week's video. I came up with quite a few things, but one thing that kept kind of sticking to me was the subject of food addiction. Food addiction is a very real thing, and it's obvious by the amount of information that's available, whether it's on, you do a Google search on food addiction, you have millions and millions of hits, as the same way as just doing a search here on YouTube under food addiction. You'll come up with hundreds of videos, and if you do food addiction and VSG, the numbers is just as high. So it's a very, very real thing. It's a very real thing that a lot of VSG or people in the weight loss community, period, talk about post-op, facing the fact that they do have a food addiction, or how to deal with their food addiction if they already realize this in that post-op stage. Now, to me, I kind of understood at that point what it was, but it was like, not to be funny or anything, but you know how you see on TV at NA, always not NA, AA meetings, it's always like the person says, hi, my name is, in the room reply, hi, such and such. Well, guys, hi, my name is Sheeta, and I am a food addict. Able to determine, not that I'm a professional or I'm even sitting here acting like I am a medical professional, a psychological professional, or any kind of professional in food addiction. I'm talking about based on what I've read and what I know about myself. I believe that I fall under the category, because there are different kinds of food addictions as well, guys, that I discovered. And I fall in the category of a compulsive binge eater / binge eater. And it's pretty self-explanatory, but I arrived at that because of my habit of, number one, eating something because I saw something. Something crosses my mind. I suddenly have a craving for something. It's not because I'm hungry. It's not because my body is lacking some nutrition. I mean, craving sometimes comes from your body actually lacking something. I know myself, there are times that I crave eggs. Like, I need eggs, especially if I drink. If I drink alcohol and I drink it in excess, like going out, I have maybe one or two more than usual. Boom, 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 boom. And I'm kind of hungover the next day, I have to eat eggs. It's nothing else is going to fix me. I have been up many a time, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning scrambling eggs because I feel like my system needs it. So I know that there are times during cravings or when you feel like your body needs something, it's because your body is lacking something. But this goes beyond that. So compulsive eater, I admit that is part of my issue. Binge eating, I was kind of on the fence about it, but I had to take that as a yes for me as well, simply because many of the descriptions of binge eating I saw was eating large amounts of food in one sitting. I don't do that. I'm not that person that's going to sit there and eat a cake. I'm not that person that will sit there and eat just larger. That's just not how I am. In fact, the idea, like food eating contests, like the Nathan's hot dog thing is one of those all-you-can-eat contests. That shit disgusts me. It is so disgusting to see people shoving food in their mouth like that and just like dipping it in juice and y'all, that shit just makes me want to throw up. It's too much. I can't stand to see that. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm kind of like, I don't know if that's me, but I will say I have had binging moments, and when I say binging moments, I may eat too much not in that one sitting, but within the time where I shouldn't be eating. Too much because I know I'm not hungry for it. Let's say I go to Wendy's and I get the meal that I always order, which is the double cheeseburger with chili. I get the bun for a kid's burger and I get chili instead of fries because I'm trying to make differences, guys. I really am. Well, I haven't even been there in a little bit, but it's not because I didn't want to go. It's because the line was too crowded. Like, I'm going to keep it real with y'all. But in the end, let's just say I get that meal. I eat the burger. The burger is more than enough. I'm full. But an hour later, I'll look at that chili and I'll eat it. Not because I'm full, because I see it. So with that, I think that might be kind of under binge eating. I mean, maybe it's kind of compulsive eating, but the reason why I say binge is because I'll eat that chili and maybe an hour later, I'll sit there and I'll be like, it'd be nice to have some ice. I've kind of figured that I might fall under compulsive / binge eating as far as my addiction goes. I don't believe that I fall in the category of emotional eater, and I'm going to tell you. Usually when I have stuff going on, I'm the opposite. I lose my appetite. It's difficult for me to eat because probably of the joy I get out of eating. Between 2013 and 2015, I suffered a lot of loss in my life, and a lot of the ways that I dealt with my loss was through isolation. I cut people off that I knew were not in my corner. I cut out toxic relationships unapologetically. During my most difficult times in my life, these people were not there. These people I just felt were never ever going to give me what I was so freely willing to give them, which was, love and support. And I just cut people off, and I kind of went into this space, which was a first for me because I never really was the kind of person that was by themselves per se. I always surrounded myself with a lot of people, and I just cut everything off. My social life, everything. I just became a homebody, just went to work while I dealt with my loss and my losses. So because of that, that is how I became to determine that my food addiction is not necessarily on the emotional spectrum of it. It just seems to me to be more of, like I said, compulsive eating and binge eating. So, now that I have this information, what do I do now? Well, I guess I'm going to have to figure out ways to deal with it. And I'm asking you guys, if you are a person that has a food addiction on the spectrum of compulsive eating and or binge eating, how do you deal with it? I'm watching a lot of videos still, and I've heard a lot of people say that they recognize it, but I don't hear too many people saying how they're combating it. I'm sure doing things differently, creating better habits, different habits, contributes to dealing with any addiction. Finding ways to keep busy, which is one of the things that I myself have been. I would like to share with you guys and confess with you guys that as well as being on a weight loss journey this year, and one of the other things that I really want to change is I have been a smoker for many years. I feel a little ashamed to tell you guys that, but yes, I was a smoker. Probably about a half a pack a day smoker. I was never a serious smoker, but I did smoke. Hated, maybe in the last couple of years, began to really hate smoking. Like, I really began to dislike it, but it was a habit. I don't hear a lot of people in this community talk about smoking. It may be because it's a lot of young people in this community, which I feel like smoking is typically, like for me, my generation, this is me speaking for myself. I came from a generation where smoking was still considered okay. I can still remember non-smoking sections of restaurants. Like, you would go into a restaurant, there were non-smoking sections. I can still remember when people were allowed to smoke on public transportations in Philadelphia, when I was in school. All the smokers, you would see people sitting in the back. It wasn't a thing, whereas now it is just more socially unacceptable. I mean, I guess there's some level of acceptance to it because they still sell cigarettes. They haven't been outlawed. But, designated smoking areas and just the number of places you can't smoke anymore makes it very obvious that society is leaning towards, becoming a society of a nicotine-free society. I'm not talking vaping and all of that. I'm talking about just actual cigarettes. But a nicotine-free society. Whereas when I was growing up, it was just acceptable. Most people smoked. I didn't grow up in the 50s or 40s where it was like you saw people all the time. Everybody smoked. It wasn't that. Like you see an old movie, and you see doctors in hospitals smoking cigarettes, because that's how it was. But I did grow up in a generation where as a kid, I remember being able to go to the store and buy cigarettes from my parents. They would give you a note. Now, you better not try to give a kid a note and send them to the store. But my point is, I was a smoker. And I say I was a smoker because, guys, I quit. And you know what? I'm going to tell you, like, to keep it real with you, this is my very first time ever trying. And I'm like, I don't want to, like, toot my own horn too fast because I really don't want to be like, I quit smoking and then I smoke again. But I don't have a desire to smoke. I did get actual help. I went to a non-smoking doctor, a smoking cessation doctor, I guess. When I started my journey, I decided to be very honest and open with the bariatric team about my smoking habit, because I remember 10 years ago, because again, guys, as I said in my other video, I am going back to the same surgeon. 10 years ago, this dude made it very clear that if you smoke, he was not doing the surgery. Like, my surgeon is like an avid runner. He's like a healthy guy. He's not somebody, like, he's walking the walk. You know what I'm saying? So he made it very clear, if you smoke, I'm not doing the surgery. And I didn't know that they could actually, like, test you for nicotine. Like, I guess do like a piss test or whatever. I guess that's how they find out. Because I'm assuming that there's a way for them to find out if you're a smoker or not. So I decided when I started this journey, very upfront, I was going to be honest with them and let them know, hey, yeah, I am a smoker. I only smoke probably about less than 10 cigarettes a day, but I do smoke. I want to quit. And so they hooked me up with a doctor that actually, that's what he does. He specializes in smoking cessation. That's right there in the network, and my hospital's network. And he put me on Chantix, and he gave me some like Nicotrol inhaler things, which I don't use because I just don't want the nicotine, period. But I'm not feeling like I'm not missing it. I took the Chantix, and anybody that's taken Chantix knows that it can give you, depending on who you are, it can do good or bad. For me, and I had tried Chantix in the past, it just gave me very vivid dreams, and it wasn't a bad thing. It was like they were in color, and they were very realistic. But I didn't have nightmares, no suicidal thoughts, thank God, because I know for some people it affects them differently. But it has not affected me in a negative way. And I am happy not to smoke. The funny thing is I have tons of lighters. I have tons of fucking lighters. But I wanted to share that with you guys because I know I'm not the only person on this journey that might be a smoker or a former smoker, and to deal with a nicotine and food addiction at the same time is a hell of a thing. It's a hell of a drug. Nicotine. It's a hell of a drug, y'all. Like seriously. But I brought that up because I also wanted to tell you guys how I've been able to do it. Yes, Chantix has helped. And to use this kind of metaphorically, I feel like my tool, it will help. Chantix was a tool. The sleeve is going to be a tool. One of the first things that I decided to do is I decided when I was going to stop, I saw this guy, the smoking doctor, twice. And he wants me to take Chantix for 6 months, which is fine. I've seen him twice so far, and actually I see him one more time in April. And since I bought this all up, I'll tell you guys how that works out. But of course, my goal is, of course, to continue to not smoke. So when I do see him April 22nd, I can say to him, when he says, how's it going? I can be like, I haven't smoked a cigarette since March 22nd, which was, no, I think it was the 23rd. But that's how long it's been. It's been, today is, I think, makes 1 full week. So I used the tool of the Chantix. It got to the point where it became physically disgusting. And then it was just a matter of the habit of doing it, which had been my whole thing. It was just a habit of doing it. My habit was every morning I would get up, and I get up probably earlier than most. I would get up early in the morning, very early, a lot earlier, because I had a routine of checking my email, playing games on my iPad that I like to play, writing out bills, anything online related, anything with my, I would get my iPad, I would sit on my bed, I would drink coffee, watch the news, and I would do one of those 3 things. And while I was doing those things, I would smoke. And a lot of times, guys, I'm not going to lie, I would do it unconsciously. I might smoke 3 or 4 cigarettes in that sitting with that 1 cup of coffee. When I would leave the house, I would always take another cup of coffee. And on my way to work, I would smoke 1 or 2 cigarettes, depending on how much coffee I had or how stressed I felt that day or how I felt, period. I would smoke another cigarette or 2. And that would be pretty much it. That would be it, maybe until the evening. I never smoked at work. I never was that person, like I would see the smokers, on breaks. I never did that. Sometimes I would smoke a cigarette on my way home, but that was rare. But I would never want to smoke again, maybe until I went to the bathroom after dinner, maybe if I had a bowel movement. I know that's TMI, but it's the truth. It wasn't an all-day thing for me. So what I did is I stopped drinking coffee, believe it or not. I started sleeping later, just a half an hour later, so I didn't have all that time in the morning, and I stopped drinking coffee. And I didn't even dig on the whole caffeine trip until I told my daughter proudly the other day. I was like, hey, my oldest daughter, I was like, hey, I haven't had a cigarette in almost a week. And she's like, oh my God, Mom, that's great. I was like, yeah, I haven't been drinking the coffee and smoking. And she's like, what? You gave up coffee too? Oh my God, you're a beast, you know. But that's the only time I wanted a cigarette, was when I would drink coffee. So I haven't been drinking coffee. I haven't smoked a cigarette or had a desire to smoke a cigarette. I am still taking the Chantix, and I will continue to take the Chantix. But that was the other point of me wanting to get this wrapped up with this guy, the smoking doctor. He's a really nice guy, but in the end, dude, I can't keep paying you a copay. I'm not going to give you $180. In other words, I'm not going to see you every month for the next 6 months. I plan to see you one more time next month, April 22nd. I plan to see you to tell you I quit. And then deuces. If you want to see me after I have my surgery, then maybe so. But I'm not going to give you $180 because every time I see this guy, I have to give him a $30 copay for the next 6 months. I'm just not doing it. Especially if I have absolutely no desire to smoke. Not to say I'm in the free and the clear, because I don't want to be cocky like that. Because again, I've never quit smoking before. But today, and just for today, I'm cool. I'm cool. So I said all that because I'm hoping that maybe I can apply the same mindset to my food addiction. In other words, my tool, like the Chantix, will be, my sleeve, and just find other things to do. Instead of eating or binging or compulsive eating, which I've actually been trying to do now. I'm just keeping busy, folding laundry or writing in my journal, just something besides putting something in my mouth that I don't need. So that pretty much is the subject. It's my truth. I wanted to share that truth with you guys, as well as talk a little bit about what I've discovered about food addiction. It's such a broad subject. There is no way I know I can cover everything in this video. In fact, this video is already a lot longer than I wanted it to be. But I wanted to keep it real with you guys because that's what I think this is all about. It's about, for me, it's about being honest. And I would like to think that people are sharing their truth when they make videos, because there's no reason to lie. I've done in previous videos, I wanted to shout out another YouTuber. This YouTuber today I'm going to shout out. Her name is Clusiel. Clusiel. I will put her name at the bottom, as I've learned to do now. Clusie is, I think she might be 4 or 5 years post-op. But basically, this young lady lost 190 pounds after getting VSG surgery in a period of about 2 years. Her story is amazing. Her channel, she has different subjects. I can remember seeing something that she had once before. But what brought me back to her was she actually had a video on food addiction. And if you go to her channel and you check out her weight loss playlist, she really does. She covers the gamut. She goes through everything. It looks like that she is consistent with making her videos during her VSG journey. She was very consistent. She has 5-figure subscribers. So she's been around for a little while. And she's so funny. She's cute. She's funny. She keeps it simple. She keeps it real. Nothing fancy. She's in her home making her videos, but she's pretty good. So I wanted to shout her out and tell you guys, if you haven't already, check her out. She is a wealth of information. And I really, really appreciate YouTubers like her because, again, I know that this is not an easy journey. And these post-op people that are so willing to share their lows and their woes with us should be commended. And I appreciate you guys that are willing to do that, because the doctors are only going to give you so much information. Only a person that's actually had the surgery can tell you what it's going to be like when you experience certain things, especially for food addicts. And since most of us are food addicts, that's how we got here, it's going to be it's interesting to know what that person that has gone through this experience, or that is going through this experience, what they feel like when they're faced with wanting to eat something and they can't. I've heard that so many times in videos, that feeling, is lost. It truly is a grieving process that people go through with food. And I'm going to try to get a little ahead of it. I like to think of myself as a thinking woman. So I'm going to try to do what I can today to get ahead of it tomorrow, because I do not want to fail at this, guys. I do not do not want to fail. Failing is not an option for me, period. It's just not an option. So I'm going to wrap this up. I want to thank everybody that has watched my video. I want to thank all of my subscribers, new and old. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. I ask that you please, of course, share, like, and comment. I don't get enough comments, and I want to read what you guys think. If you guys have any information about food addiction, if you have any books that you can recommend about food addiction, please, please, please leave them in the comments. Because I think that sharing is caring, and the best way to get the information is from people who maybe have read a book or had an experience, you know, that can share that information with me. Again, I have an appointment on Wednesday, so by the time I see you guys again, I'll be able to tell you what went on at that appointment. It's a basic bariatric appointment, but I'm thinking that they're going to schedule my post, not my post-op, they're going to schedule, see where I am, they're going to schedule my appointment with the psych, which is something that's really a major hurdle I feel like I want to get through. Guys, I'm getting a little nervous. I'm going to also be really honest real quick. I'm a little nervous because I got this far before and everything was kind of like shattered because of my thyroid. You know, 10 years ago when I went to try to get lap band, and, you know, thank God now I didn't, because, you know, so many things that's going on with lap band, and that's happened in 10 years. But the fact of the matter is, I'm so nervous that I'm going to get this far and something is going to derail me. I really am. I'm just nervous because I want it so bad. And I've had things in my life before that I wanted just as bad, and God just was like, it's not for you. But I pray. And I've been praying that this is truly for me, and that it will continue to go as smoothly as it has been, without them finding any issues that is going to prevent me from getting the surgery, so I can start a new life, guys. I'm just really ready. I'm ready. I know I'm getting antsy about it. I still have at least 2 months to go, but I'm just keeping it real with y'all. So again, I'm going to peace y'all out right now. I'm going to thank you for watching this video. Do not forget, as I always say, you have to love yourself more. Love yourself more today, guys. Make sure that you love yourself enough to say no when you don't want to do something. When you really, really just are not feeling it, say no. It's okay to say no. Make sure that you do something to get you a little bit stepper to success in your journey, whether it's pre-op or post-op. And just love on yourself more. We only get this one life, and it's only one you. Have a great day. See you next time.